So we're going to jump into some product sessions. The first one is CWM, Crosswork Workflow Manager, an update on that. And we have Jesse Wayne and Sri who will run us through the update. So thank you guys for helping us out here.
Thank you so much. Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for coming to our session. My name is Jesse Wayne, and with me I have Sri, and respectively, I am the product line manager for Crosswork Workflow Manager Solutions, very closely tied to Crosswork Workflow Manager. The PLM for CWM is Lou, who's not on the stage, but I will be giving a brief update on it. And Sri, who is our software engineering technical leader for CWM Solutions. So I know you've all been waiting for this specific session, so with that, we'll get underway. So let's talk about what we actually are, right? So to kick this off, you might be wondering what the heck is CWM Solutions. And you probably heard it last year as RAC, or the Router Automation Kit. So we did have a little rebrand, but these are one and the same, right? So you'll see what we've done over the past year, what's coming up. We actually have our next release at the end of this month, so very, very soon. And you're going to be seeing a demo of our new Fleet Upgrade UI, which is coming as part of that. So let's jump into it. So I always like to start with, why have we built this, right? Like, why does it exist? Justify your existence. And we started with 3 problems that come out of our conversations with our users, right? So these give us our goalposts for what it is that we actually need to do, like what we need to provide for our users. So the first on this list is manual, right? So change management remains a pretty manual process. The automation space in general is composed of different products that are very good at what they're intended to do. They are feature-rich, but they exist in silos, right? So there's a need for something to come together and thread those things together. So that gives us goalpost number 1. We need to be interoperable. And a key part of being interoperable is having a robust set of adapters that you can use to connect with whatever it is that you need, right? Number 2, complexity. I think this one is probably familiar to the people in this audience. But complexity is a 2-part problem, right? In that the tools themselves can have high learning curves, meaning that it's difficult to get to a point of meaningful use. And as a result of that, we have people who are scared off from the beginning, and we also have people who are willing to give it a try, but it takes them a long time to get to the point of meaningful use, so they wind up abandoning it. So that gives us goal number 2. We need to be intuitive, but not at the cost of customizability. So we're threading that needle. You're going to see how during our fleet upgrade demo. And finally, vendor specificity. This one, pretty straightforward, right? We need to be a multi-vendor. So that's what our goal is. What actually is it? So Crosswork Workflow Manager, I think you're all familiar with in this room. But as a reminder, it is the underlying driver to this solution. It's vendor agnostic, and it's the thread that ties your entire change management process together. So it functions as that east to west integrator. It's general purpose, and you, the user, can build whatever it is that you want on it. But part of what we've done with CWM Solutions, formerly known as the Router Automation Kit, is we've built these 3 pre-built use cases on top of it. So that is Fleet Upgrade, which is an image and OS upgrade process, Golden Configuration, which is an auditing and remediation process, and Device Onboarding, which is streamlined provisioning. So let's spend some time first digging into CWM specifically. I think that this, again, will be familiar, but I do want to spend some time reminding you of what it is. So Crosswork Workflow Manager, right? I really like this slide because I think it illustrates how CWM functions as the east to west integrator. So you can see here how it's lacing together NSO, CNC, HCO, these kind of classic core parts of the Crosswork portfolio. But then you have the other third-party options as well, right? You can use whatever controller, other OSS, BSSs, CLI-based apps. That's up to you. And part of that comes, or the bulk of that comes, from having a set of pre-built adapters that you can leverage, as well as SDKs and XDKs that you can leverage to extend it yourself to whatever it is that you need. What I also like to hit on here, you can see in the bottom bubble there, the customizable operator dialogues. So these are natural pauses in the workflow itself. And you can pause for approvals, you can give status updates. I think you probably already saw as part of this session an integration via Kafka with WebEx, where the user was prompted to give inputs as the workflow operated. So that's a really compelling part of CWM as well. Okay, now I want to shift a little bit to CWM solutions and go through these use cases. The first of which is fleet upgrade. Now, fleet upgrade, I'm not going to spend too much time on just because you're about to get that great demo of it. But at its heart, it is automated image and OS upgrade workflow. And again, our goal here is for it to be very intuitive to use, but not sacrifice customizability. And as part of that, one of the core features of Fleet Upgrade is the ability to create your own mops. And we both provide pre-built mops for you to use out of the box. That's that usability, use it out of the box functionality that we're talking about, as well as build your own mops from scratch or extend upon the mops that we already provide to you. In addition to that, we have, this is a popular feature as well, the ability for you to define and run regular conformance checks against the images you have deployed in your field, as well as the ability to upload images locally, yes, but also download them from CCO and store them. So it's a very good ease of use thing. And of course, it's multi-vendor, right? That's an essential piece of this. And the other thing I want to flaunt about this is, you've already heard me say this multiple times, but it's because it's great. We have this use case specific UI that we're going to take a look at in a little bit. So following on that, we have golden configuration. Now this is an auditing and remediation tool, right? So at the heart of what this is, I kind of broke this down into 3 verticals here. Define, which is the ability to actually define the template that it is that you want to do. And one of the highlights there is that we allow you to do so in the native device config. So it can be JStyle, CStyle, XML, and that's something that we find has been very popular. And then that is leveraged by Jinja 2 templates to create the template itself. And then in the second vertical there, the audit, that's kind of the meat and potatoes, right? It's pretty straightforward. That's the actual checking what you have deployed in the field against the template that you've created. And finally, remediate, right? You are able to create predefined remediation actions that should golden configuration find a difference between what's applied versus what you're expecting, it can go ahead and apply the change for you. Finally, we have device onboarding. And the 3 standouts I want to call out here, we're leveraging ZTP, but it's fundamentally the ability to turn any NSO into a ZTP server, and I call that out because this is very much an NSO crowd, right? It is multi-vendor. All 3 of these are multi-vendor. And at the end of this process, you have the option to onboard your devices into NSO itself. So with that said, that's my brief overview. I am going to hand it over to Sri now to run us through the fleet upgrade demo.
Sure. So I go to the demo. Can we switch, please? Right, sure. So, hi everyone. Good afternoon. Dimitris, let's go. Okay. So, last November, I've done a brief demo of the CWM solutions using the mockups. But here today, I'm happy to showcase the production version of the CWM solutions that is set to release in about a week's time, right? When you install the CWM solutions into the Crosswork Workflow Manager, you notice 2 things. One is the device management that allows us to upload the inventory and manage the life cycle of the inventory, right? So we currently support XR, XE, and Juniper devices, and the inventory management does support all the 3, right? So in my lab, in the demo setup, I have all the 3 variations of the devices noted. And the other thing you will notice in the menu items is the CWM solutions itself. This holds the fleet upgrade use case that we have built, and it showcases different feature lists that we've built around the upgrade. Right? So I always like to start my demo with the image repository because it's easier for me to explain, and also it helps me to build a story so that I can connect the rest of the use cases that we've built or rest of the features that we've built for the upgrade. Right? So in its basic form, the repository allows users to upload the XR, XR, June OS images into the system. All the images have to be in the system before they can be referred elsewhere. Right? In this version, all of them have to be in the system. Beyond that, what we have tried to do is actually take the image repository, connect it with the cisco.com, and to allow user to browse the images that are available on the cisco.com. Right? In this version of the CWM solutions, we support just the XR SMU image browsing. So what as a user, what we could do is we could focus down, on the XR version or the optimal list or not optimal list of the SMUs available. Then once we have decided what version, what device model we wanted to look at, and the in-local would identify whether that image is in your local system or not, right? So for those images that are not locally available and that we want to use, what we could do is we could select them and initiate a download. Right. So we have integrated with the Cisco's ASD APIs. So when you initiate the download, it'll take you to the Cisco CCO authentication, and if the user who is initiating has the authorization to download the images, then the images can be downloaded directly into the local repository. Right. For the images that I want to use, I'll not initiate the download. To keep it brief, I have pre-downloaded the images that I want to use for this demo. Right. So I believe I want to use ISIS. Okay. So once the image is locally available, now we can start using it. We can start using it to create an image policy, and we can apply that policy on the devices in your inventory. So that policy will identify the devices that are not conformant with it, and flag the devices that needs upgrade. Right. So let's go ahead and then create a image policy. Right. Smooth demo. I want to create it for Cisco 8K. I have all the images. It will now allow me to select the image, assuming it is this, but we'll see. Create a policy. Now we can then generate the reports by using this policy, right? Small report. Select the image policy. It'll list down the metadata. We can select the target version. It'll just filter down your device inventory based on the version, so that it's just checking for the devices that are 9 to 7 in your inventory repository. Now, the report can be scheduled or run immediately or for the future time, or it could be done as a recursive. Now, the reason we want to do recursive is if we bring in new devices, let's say if your image policy has a PSET in it and you want all the devices in the that are in the inventory to adhere to that policy, and as we bring in new devices, those devices will be included as part of the report generation. So as and when the report generation kicks in, it'll be used. So I'll run it instantly, right? So it goes ahead, device is conformant. So the image that we are trying to, the image policy that we are trying to create, the image already exists in the system, and then it just identifies that, okay, the image is already. So if it is not conformant, then it'll flag those images that are not present on the device, and then we could start the fleet upgrade from that point. Right? So before we talk about the fleet upgrade job itself, I think we need to define the software-defined MOPs, right? So there's another feature that we have created. So with the software-defined MOP, what we are trying to do is mimic the operational procedures usually we would have around the upgrade. So we will usually have a sequence of pre-checks, then the device goes into an upgrade if the pre-checks are good, and then there will be a sequence of post-checks after the upgrade is done, right? So we try to capture all of that essence using the MOPs. And the system comes pre-built with 3 default MOPs, so one for each OS type that we support. We can go check what each of these MOP does. These are tested and they can be used out of the box, right? But let's say we want to make some change or create a MOP for a different product series than the 8K that is shipped, right? What users can do is just clone the MOP that we are interested in. So if it is an XR, an XE, or a Juniper, and then start editing it, right? So when we have the product series, the available actions identify all the activities that we can do, right? These are all pre-built activities that we have, and we can use it as part of MOP, right? So we could hover over to see what it does, and if we want to further dive deep into the exact implementation of it and how it works, what we could do is we could just jump into the CWM workflow definition itself, right? So I have this ping, is a pre-built workflow activity that comes with the CWM solutions. What it does is it just allows user to ping a particular IP address, right? So it can be used for XR or XE devices. So we check the device family, and then we formulate the exact CLI command to be sent. We reach the device via the NSO, execute the command, and then based on the outcome, we decide whether it's a success, failure, or what it is. Right? So once we've decided we know what activity to use, we could go ahead and add it to the MOP list. Now, yesterday, I've created a new activity that verifies the device SUDI cert. So now we've written a small function back that fetches the certificates and then verifies it against the CS certs that are available from the Cisco, and I've created a MOP out of it. So I can add it and then say SUDI, and now this MOP activity is identified to be run as part of either activate, post, or pre stages, and we could use all the 3 or any of it. I'll add as part of the activate, right? And then it is now added as in the MOP, right? So after the image is activated, and the version check is confirmed, we can now do the SUDI check to verify after the device is rebooted, it is really authentic devices that we expect it to be, right? And also, let's say I want to delete any of the activities. Let's say the log analyzer I have here just looks at the past 1 hour logs to see if there are any SEV0, SEV1 events that happen on the device and then flags them as warnings. I don't want to run it because this is a lab. I know the device has been messed up, and I don't want the fleet upgrade to kind of have the false negatives, right? So I can just delete these activities, give it a name, And then we can now create the mop, right? Now, we can start the fleet upgrade either from the software conformance. I think I've used the wrong image. It kind of identifies that it is already present on the device. But we could start the fleet upgrade from the software conformance, if it is a non-conformant device, or we could start it from the inventory as well, right? So let's kick it off from the inventory, run the fleet upgrade, pick an image, and then now it asks us what mop to run, right? There is a default mop that we ship, and then there is a demo mop that we just created. It outlines all the activities that would be run, and also this identifies the stages during which those activities would be run, right? So if we're good, then we just give a name and schedule the activities. Again, it can be scheduled immediately or for a future time. Let's go ahead and initiate the upgrade process. Now, that'll take us to the jobs. Now, the jobs is created to be application specific, right? So it provides you a top-down view of the fleet upgrade process that we have just initiated, right? At a higher view, it provides the overview of how many devices are in progress, how many devices are actually scheduled in this job. And then once we select a job, then it'll list what mop is used. And assuming, let's say we have more than one device, here I have only one 8K in my lab. Let's say if you have multiple devices, all the devices will be listed. And we can track the execution of fleet upgrade live. And then we could see the stages that it went through, all the activities the job has run. And let's say I have a command capture, in the default map, it just captures the inventory and the other stuff. So I can check what is the data that activity has captured and saved for me to refer back, right? Let's say the workflow kind of fails for whatever reason, right? The execution of the fleet upgrade fails for whatever reason. So we can now, with this jobs view, pinpoint, go to the exact stage and the activity that has failed. In this case, the disk check has failed. And we also capture some of the debug or the data that would help lead the further investigation into the failures, right, as part of the mop activity, right? So also, let's say I have a successful run on the XR here. This is XSMO upgrade. Yeah. So I have run, this device went through all the different stages, and all of them are successful. Here, I've run the command capture as part of pre as well as post, right? So what now the system allows me to do is to compare the diff or the config that are captured during the pre-activity and post-activity. And this could be anything, right? It's not just the command capture workflow. There's nothing built into the activity itself. The activity just saves the data, and we pull that data and then put it together. So we identify that the activity is run between two different stages. And so now we provide a diff check on the data or the details that are saved for that. I think the interface check also has the pre and post, and we can check the diff, right? So finally, let's go back to the devices and inventory that we have inside the fleet upgrade. So this is an application again. aware inventory view. It just adds on the upgrade status or any alerts. If we are running software conformance reports, then those reports will show up as alerts if their device is non-conformant, and then it'll point you to the device or to the job that is responsible for that non-conformant, right? So you could jump to the associated job. Like here, I'm able to jump from there to the fleet upgrade. It'll be similar for software conformance as well, right? And you can just examine. So we're done with the distribute. I think we are in the activate stage, right? I think that this is what I had to show for today, and that's the fleet upgrade, that we are trying to release as part of 2.0
Yeah,
in just 1 week.
that was a live demo, by the way, so please give him a round of applause and throw some woos in there. The demo gods have smiled upon you today. Yeah, if we could go back to the slides quickly, thank you. So one thing I definitely want to take some time to hit on is what's coming up in this new release. So on the Crosswork Workflow Manager side of the house, first up we have the Workflow Navigator, and that is something that you just saw as part of Sri's demo. But as a quick reminder, it's a visual representation of the logic of your workflows, right? And you can have the side-by-side code and visualization view. And a very nice example of it was the CWM solutions that we just saw. Similarly, we're offering more deployment flexibility. So as part of this release, you're going to see the SVM and cluster deployments for CWM. And as well as that, we are integrating with CNC. So this is true of both CWM and CWM solutions. You can, of course, consume it standalone if you just want CWM. But you now have the ability to, if you have CNC, leverage the Workflow Manager as well as CWM solutions. And one quick note on that, in this version of the release, we will have just Fleet Upgrade, but that's going to expand in future releases. For example, next up, we'll have the Golden Configuration UI. Finally, geo-redundancy is coming out as part of the CWM release. On the CWM solution side of the house, we have, of course, the UI. I think you all just saw examples of this, but to run through it, the conformance checks, the map builder, the local image repo, as well as the ability to download images from CCO, the integration with CNC, which I just spoke on, and multi-vendor. And one thing that I want to hit on with multi-vendor as well is an essential piece of that is making sure that we're not just multi-vendor with a handful of devices. We have a broad offering of what it is that we can support. So we're going to have multi-vendor specific releases. It'll be similar, but not quite as fast as the NEDs. But the idea there is to have kind of a regular rolling releases to add devices as needed based on customer need. So with that said, where can you learn more? We already did the demo. Yesterday, Wei did a really excellent demo of CWM with software-assisted code. And tomorrow, if you want to learn more about Fleet Upgrade, Sri's going to be doing a more in-depth demo, taking a little bit more time today, or time than he did today, to run through creating custom mops. There are also, from previous developer days and other online demos, these resources that you can reference online. And finally, really exciting collateral stuff. How can you actually get Crosswork Workflow Manager and solutions? It will be available on Cisco.com as soon as it launches. Because CWM Solutions is an add-on to CWM, it'll be co-hosted with it there. And of course, all your documentation and community resources will stay the same from our last release, so will now just be updated with 2.0. So with that said, thank you so much for your time. Thank you, Demo Gods, for blessing us. Yes. And I think it's time for questions.
Yeah. So I learned something. CWM Solutions is different than CW. It's a upgrade, or it's a value pack on top of CWM. So that's great. Okay, excellent. So here's a couple questions we got from Stefan. Can you define and add new activities to the mop?
Yes, you can define and add new activities into the mob. So the SUDI check that I have used today to demo is a new activity that's not pre-built, but I was able to create and then add it.
Excellent. You've just showcased the Fleet Upgrade UI. Are there UIs for the golden config and device onboarding use cases?
Not yet. So this release includes our Fleet Upgrade UI. Next up, we will be doing the golden configuration UI and then device onboarding after that. So we're making sure they're really good before we put them out there.
Okay. How are CNC and CWM solutions related?
Such a good question, Stefan. So CNC and CWM solutions, so the fleet upgrade part of CWM solutions is integrated with CNC. And as we mature and go through more release cycles, we're going to be adding in the other components of CWM solutions as well. So the short and skinny there is CWM solutions is available as part of CNC. It is also available standalone, should you want something more lightweight.
Excellent. And how many devices does the Fleet Upgrade solution support?
So in this version, we support 50 parallel upgrades at any given time, and I think we have tested with 250 as part of a single job. But yeah.
Okay, great. So I got a question. Hopefully it doesn't throw you for a loop. So I noticed you said it's multi-vendor.
It is.
So in terms of configuration MOPS, would you go through an NSO system? Because NSO has a NED for Juniper and Cisco. So would the workflow engine use NSO? And there's a lot of good reasons to do that. Obviously, all the services and rollbacks and everything that NSO provides you. Or for whatever reason, would the workflow manager go directly to the Juniper router and do, some other type of direct config, management? I mean, does it support going directly to a Juniper without NSO?
The CWM has the CLI adapters, right? But with the Fleet Upgrade, what we have done is we have built function packs using NSO to run the Juniper upgrades. So we are going through the NSO. We're not looking at going directly to the device.
Okay, great. Okay, any more questions? We got 1 minute here before we get to the next session. Raise your hand. Oh, here's one. Can you elaborate more on the multi-vendor plans? Also, do you have any thoughts on smaller CPEs and TR-369 support?
Yeah, absolutely. You can elaborate. So like I said, we're going to have, we'll of course have our product-specific releases, which offer new UIs, all the classic features. But in order to really and truly be multi-vendor, we're going to have these dedicated multi-vendor releases. And the way that works is we're going to talk to users, talk to customers, and say, what do you need? And as part of that, we do ask that so we have access to the right device, that whoever we're working with, whoever the customer is, helps us either get access to their labs or ship us a device so that we can test with it directly. So when it comes to CPEs, TR-390 or 369, excuse me, yeah, I mean, we can certainly work with you on that. It depends on what you have that we can work with, and we'll have the conversation with you on getting it added into our multi-vendor release. So,
great.
Yes.
And you said it's shipping in a week?
It is, yes.
Wow. And I guess if customers want to try it out before they buy, they can, have an evaluation of it.
Like a POC?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, everyone.